All right, we are on the air. This is Jay Simmons, Mach 30 President, coming to you on uh, June the 21st, 2016. This is our 2016 IPT second sprint review. I am joined by IPT team members Aaron Harper. Say hi, Aaron.
Had it muted, sorry. Hi, guys.
Also, Brian, whose last name just escaped.
That's Brian James. Hey.
Hey, welcome. And we also have Mach 30 board member Chris Sigmund on the meeting today.
Hi, everyone.
And Mach 30 Vice President Greg Moran.
How's it going?
Greg and I are joint product owners for the IPT, but I also work on the IPT. So whenever there's a unclear decision, you'll see me delegate a lot of that to Greg, or Greg and I'll have a conversation. Otherwise, this will work like a regular sprint review. The team 6 weeks ago at the beginning of the sprint took on a series of product backlog items, or PBI, basically tasks they committed to completing by the end of the sprint. We'll go through each one of those, and the team will report out on how they did and whether or not they claimed done. And then mostly Greg, but a little bit Greg and I will evaluate whether or not we accept done status, and then we'll do that until we reach the end of the PBI list for this sprint. Is the team ready to go?
We are.
All right. So this is in sprint rank order, not alphabetical order. The first PBI I have is Marketing 2.6, update social media profiles to use the Groundsphere 3 logo. Brian, I think you put a point on that. Can you comment on that?
Yes, and I'm planning done on that. We've updated all of the major social media networks that we have registered and used for the Groundsphere project, and you can see those pretty immediately if you go to the easiest one is the Twitter account, which is twitter.com/ground_sphere. You'll see that logo there. That's also been disseminated through some various posts and outreach to show folks that logo as it was designed in the previous sprint.
Checking it out real quick. Behold, there's the logo. And there's a tweet that says to join us live right now. There you go. Greg, that looks done to me.
Yep, I concur. I'm confirmed that we're on Twitter, and it has the logo with the patch, and the patch looks awesome. So, complete.
Done. Brian, you're still on the hook for me. Next one is MPTG27, that's Marketing 2.7, post weekly IPT progress. That is material stand-ups on our social media outlets.
Yes, and I'm claiming done on that. The practice with that was generally to post a wrap-up summary message at the end of a stand-up, a weekly stand-up, and in conjunction with that to post essentially short minutes to Twitter about those meetings, about those sprints as we did them, which I did do. And then, of course, today there will be a final review and wrap-up posted to social media in conjunction with that.
All right. Greg.
I concur. I saw the announcements go out periodically. Helped put them together if I ran the meetings, so I concur that was completed.
Excellent. Right. Then I am moving on. Brian, you're off the hook for chatting for a minute. Aaron, I'm going to point at you, I believe, for the next one. This is ENG09, Engineering 09. Research and identify a source for link budget calculations, including test cases. This is one that we didn't quite finish last time. Go ahead.
Okay. I would call it done. We have link budget calculations on ODE, and we have run several link budgets with both manually and using the calculator for what is it? God, I can't think of it now. The spreadsheet that we found, and the difference in the calculation is within a half a dB, which is well within the norms established.
I have a comment on that. We not only have this, but we then applied it in other work. So it's going to work out in our serving us.
Yep. Was it SparkSat or what was the name of the
Kicksat, I think.
Kicksat? That's it. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. It's Kicksat from Cornell.
Craig, any additional comments or questions?
Nope, nothing on that one.
So we're accepting done. So accepting done status, Craig?
What?
So we're accepting done on that one?
Are you asking me or telling?
I'm asking.
Are we accepting done? Yes.
Awesome. Just checking. I didn't hear you. There was some noise on my end. All right. I'm going to continue. This is now on to marketing-29. And that one is actually, I'm on the hook for that. It was to draft and post 2 blog posts about GroundSphere during the sprint. We are claiming done. We posted both required posts by the end of the sprint, one just barely, but we still did it. The first one was a blog post about the GroundSphere Mark III Sprint 1 review, so we summarized and posted the video from this meeting a sprint ago. And the second one went up just tonight, entitled Mach 30 Needs Makers, a call to action asking the maker community to come help us test our documentation by making the cool things we're documenting in GroundSphere.
And that blog post, just as a quick note, has been disseminated now onto the social media networks for GroundSphere and for Mach 30, and is shareable through a link that can be found on those accounts.
Greg, any questions or comments or?
Nope, I got to edit it before it went live, so looks good to me. In case folks are looking at it on the mach30.org, it's actually the second post because the other one that we posted, the call for presenters, is actually sticky, so that'll show up first. Unfortunately.
I know. I think that's a good call. The other activity deserves sticky status. I'm happy to play second fiddle to it. In fact, if I thought about it, I will check to make sure that was the case before I hit the publish button, because that was good.
Yep. I concur. We're done.
Thank you. All right. And last but not least, we have ENG, that's Engineering 16, which was to extend the work from ENG02 from last sprint to actually get to a point where we can capture at least one weather satellite image from space. Aaron, do you want to share where we're at on that one?
Well, we had some mechanical difficulties. Well, the first thing is that the documentation the gentleman provided in the Hackaday was sparse, to say the least. The second issue is that after looking through the link budget, both doing manual link budget calculations the old-fashioned way, as well as using the Kicksat spreadsheet for link budget done by Cornell University, um, there he if the author was managed to get reception, he was either very lucky or did not have, as he put it, a random length of wire for an antenna. Um, in that vein, we've worked on creating an antenna to receive. We have actually seen the reception, and in fact, it was a lot better than I anticipated. It's one of the reasons I didn't manage to get it on a recording, because my jaw was on the floor how well we were receiving with what we had. Unfortunately, the antenna was extremely fragile, and well, it broke. And the second one that I made broke after we did some strain relief. My good friend Scott Johnson here, Shogun X for anybody that's on G+, stepped in and saved the day. He managed to repair the antenna, and we're currently waiting on receiving the next satellite pass in about 18 minutes. But at this point in time, I would say that the gentleman who posted that to Hackaday, I'm going to not necessarily cry foul on the information, but I'm going to definitely say his information was incomplete and therefore not able to be followed, at least not according to the parameters he set.
Yep, and just for clarity for those watching the video, I don't think we found this via Hackaday. We found it on. I think the blog post just showed up in some other social media forum, but the post itself is. I mean, Hackaday just redirects to other posts, but I think this one came maybe through another source.
Right.
I think, in terms of how we tripped across it. So I'm going to do my best to take IPT member hat off from a product owner hat on. I have always viewed ENGO2 as kind of a clip from Mythbusters. Is what's there sufficient to do what is claimed? And it was not entirely clear from the first sprint because all I had access to was the little toy antennas that come with the and I was doing the bulk of the work on ENGO2. Aaron took over on ENG16.
Yeah, you were using one of these, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just didn't have the requisite skills or the requisite tools to even hack a random length of wire together, let alone other potential solutions. And at this point, I feel like in ENGO2 we replicated the circumstances, and then in ENG16, I think with the whatever degree of possibility that in another 15 minutes you start getting a satellite signal and we get a picture, that we have done the ramp it up short of buying professional antenna builds, but kind of keeping in the spirit of the $30 blog post. So I think that we have, in terms of trying to replicate it as documented, I think we've taken it more than far enough to as Aaron indicated, show that something is missing from that recipe, so to speak. And I do not want whatever status we accept or reject on this one to encourage the team to continue down the rabbit hole. At this point, I am now prepared for the team to take it to button up its stuff and reach out see if he's receptive, but just to show that we've done due diligence, that we took what he had and took it as far as we could, and didn't get the same result.
Jay, another quick summary in terms of the Mythbusters terminology would be, I'd call that plausible. It wasn't confirmed because we didn't actually replicate the results that he's claiming. It wasn't quite busted because we didn't get far enough to prove either way. I'd say it may be plausible based on the results that we've shown.
If so, it's a very weak plausible at this point. We certainly got some signal reception from ground-based sources. It's that random length of wire comment that makes me want to claim busted on the blog post, but maybe not yet busted on can it be done for very, very cheap.
I would agree with you there, Jay.
That's, I think, the knicker there is, in the whole thing. It's the keystone there. That being said, I think we've done an excellent job of sorting out what was there and doing their best to honor the intent of the original blog post. And I keep wondering if I'm going to chew up enough time for you to suddenly start getting signal, Aaron. Not quite doing it intentionally, everyone, but I keep wondering if that's going to be what happens. We'll see.
So, Jay, you say you want us to keep vamping for a minute or two. Aaron, what's the countdown like now for that next pass?
Well, let's see here. Hold on 1 second. We are going to make contact in 12 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay.
And it's going to be a fairly low contact. It's about 30 degrees above the horizon. So
30 degrees?
30.
Okay.
So it's not a very good contact, but it is within the realm of possibility on the lake budget.
Okay.
We'll at least see it in the waterfall display.
Which bird is it?
It's Russian Meteor M2, which actually has a fairly strong transmitter. It follows the standard Russian dogma of let's make this massive, powerful thing that requires heavy lift.
Yep.
But as opposed to the finely, delicately tuned NOAA 19 that gets by on 5 watts.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Russian hardware, the Swiss Army knife that doubles as a hammer. Love it, though it works.
Yeah. On the same frequency, same general vicinity of the band as the NOAA stuff, or is it?
That's correct. It's 137.1, I do believe. I will double check. All right. Yeah, 137.1, and it also transmits on 137.9, but we'll be doing the .1.
Gotcha. And remind me, because it's been 8 weeks since I looked at the NOAA birds, that the NOAA birds are also in that general vicinity, right?
Correct. They're almost interchangeable. The difference is that the encoding is slightly different, but that can be taken care of in audio processing.
Yep. When I was testing some of the software tools during ENGO2, I found someone had posted a WAV file of one of a pass of a NOAA bird. I was actually very impressed with how noisy it was able to be, and yet I was able to take that file and use the image processing tool from the blog post, which he had claimed he wrote and he didn't write. He was just linking to all the various tools you needed. And that stuff, he did a very good job of pointing to all the things you needed. And
Right.
that tool worked. It pulled a picture, very recognizable picture of Earth from space. I was like, wow.
Yep. And I've always found it amazing exactly how this older stuff. It's not like the digital modes where it it either works or it doesn't, and unless everything's perfect, and it won't work, or it will work right up until a butterfly farts in China. But this stuff is analog; it just works. And
That's really one reason I still love analog communications, RF.
absolutely, that's
So robust.
yeah. I'm dinking around privately with digital voice, and I'm pretty impressed with what it can be, what digital can do in low signal applications if it's designed for it.
Right.
But it still doesn't beat analog.
That's why everybody says LPs are better audio quality, right?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
At least certainly more interesting in many ways. The character.
Well, the retention of the data is very different when we're talking about an analog transmission or an analog method of storing something, namely because very often it has to do with the way that data is actually captured. I mean,
Yep.
we can capture audio data now at 192 kilohertz and sample that audio data 192,000 times per second, which of course means that we're capturing more data, which is great, and more data means that we can do more with that data in theory, but it also has to do with what source that's coming from and the method with which we're actually collecting it, and so there's a lot of arguments between there if a digital signal is actually retaining the original quality of what would be heard or perceived by the human ear or something along those lines, if it's actually being retained in the same way, namely because of the conversion process. With analog, you're not there's less conversion. I mean, that's just the bottom line. There's less conversion to take it from something that is audibly heard to something that is actually a recorded signal. So it's kind of an interesting way to be looking at it if you're looking at it in this fashion. And it also goes back to, like we're saying, the stability of it. It's an analog signal is honestly still, whether or not it is considered as high definition, it's still in a lot of ways more stable, especially under rough handling situations, let's say.
It's certainly way more robust. So, speaking of mapping and time, how are we doing towards our paths here?
Okay, our pass will come up over the horizon in 6 minutes. Now, once it actually rises over the horizon, my visual horizon, does not mean I'll see it. In fact, probably won't. Not until it gains an altitude, gets clear of trees and other things.
That usually happens around 10 or so degrees above
Correct.
local horizon.
Correct. You got to get rid of ground clutter.
Yep.
And in some cases, especially with the terrain around here, we've got a lot of iron and basalt, which basically means my ground effect is actually increased.
Interesting.
I can actually pick up more of a signal within the top 30 degrees than most people, but I tend to go absolutely stone deaf below 10 degrees.
You're also shooting through more atmosphere when you're glancing at an angle like that, so you have more attenuation as well.
Correct, and there's also more noise because atmosphere, besides attenuating the signal, it also produces noise. Anything that has atoms rattling around, produces a certain amount of noise. That's why they try to cool things to as far down as they can. The atmosphere being about 270 Kelvin tends to produce a fair bit of noise, and so more of it at a shallower angle means that more noise will be produced, and we got to pick out a smaller signal out of more noise.
Yep.
And also, there's this thing called slant range, where since you're on the curvature of the Earth, if you're over here and you're picking up a satellite over here, it's got a long range. But if it's coming up over this way, once it hits zenith, it's actually a very short distance. So, less signal, more problems.
Sure.
Here you go, folks. Live rocket science and comm engineering happening on our Hangout.
Yes, with the arm used for definition. Let's see, 3.5 minutes.
Getting orbital mechanics tonight, did you?
Hey, there you go. Hey, at least I'm not doing the trig as far as figuring out the slant range and law of sines and all that.
Oh.
I do have the math, the show and tell, the the big stick it on the wall kind of lecture notes.
I don't know. I'm not up for that rigorous of a lesson.
It's been too long of a day.
It's getting late.
I hear you.
In terms of video, I can probably go in once this is posted and, I don't know, time lapse or fast forward, speed it up 4 times to get our vamp session out of the way if something exciting happens in the next 2.5 minutes.
Well, 2.5 till it hits horizon, so the next 10 or so.
Well, the other thing is, if you're really interested, if trigonometry really floats your boat, I will be doing, my next video will be on slant range and propagation losses and atmospheric losses and so on.
Right, because as kind of a result of some of the documentation we've been working on, you went ahead and started the Aerospace Maker channel, right?
Yep, that's exactly it. It's needed done. There's not enough information out there, and what is there is not presented at a level that could be used for undergraduate education or high school level.
Or even just someone in a random makerspace trying to figure it out for the first time.
And there you go. Minute and 45 seconds.
And counting.
And counting.
Everything in space is and counting, I'm pretty sure.
Let's see, I want to make sure I can actually screen share.
So yeah, while we're waiting for things to pop up over the horizon, why don't you go ahead and show the tool live? There's some video on the OD forum posts, but since we have another minute or so.
I can do that. See, let's put that. I gotta move a few things around the desktop here. Alright, there we go. Now, screen share. Well, the tracking is done using gpredict, which is a free piece of software to track satellites of all kinds. You can see here where I'm currently at is Walsenburg, Colorado, the teal marker near the center of the U.S. And we see Meteor M2, and the big yellow circle is the footprint where it can be seen. That is determined by the satellite's altitude and the cone under which the signal can be seen. On the right side, you'll see a bullseye looking thing. That is your polar plot. And here in about 10 seconds, we should be seeing the satellite come up almost a little bit north of east. So it should pop onto the scope here momentarily. There it is.
All right.
Cool.
And then the actual reception is performed by another piece of software called GQRX. It's the SDR, or software-defined radio software that works under Unix. And what you're seeing here is a waterfall display, as it's called. It shows the radio signals that are present in the band across a fairly small section of it. We're kind of waiting at 137.1, and it falls according to time. That way you can see signals as they occur. Now, because the satellite is actually approaching us, you'll actually see it at a slightly higher frequency due to Doppler shift. It's like when a car honks its horn and whizzes past you, you're going to hear the horn at a higher frequency, and then it's going to drop in frequency as it goes past. So while we're centered at 137.1, you might see it at 137. Let's say 105, 103, somewhere in there. And it's going to occupy a good portion of the band if we do see it. Switching over. Okay, we're still well below.
Aaron, we already talked about having the satellite have to come up above the ground clutter. We won't see it exactly when it passes over, starts to pass over.
Say again?
Oh, I was just reiterating some of the vamping conversation we had about waiting for the satellite to pass above the local horizon up to about 10 degrees before we'll be able to hear it.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. We probably won't be able to hear it, but we'll probably see it.
Yep. See the frequencies on the waterfall diagram.
Correct. You will see a disturbance in the force. Let's see where we're at here.
You said it'll show up higher frequency because of the Doppler shift. Does that put it off the edge of the screen?
When it's coming in, it's going to be at a higher frequency, but this one's going to be a fairly shallow pass, so the Doppler is going to be very minor.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. My software is telling me the Doppler shift is less than 100 hertz.
Okay.
We're 65 hertz at this point, so we're not even going to see a Doppler shift hardly at all. It looks like this I might have been mistaken. This doesn't look like a very high pass at all. In fact, I'm probably not even going to be able to see it above the horizon here. Right now, my elevation is 2.52 degrees, which basically means I have houses larger than that. And given that the Doppler shift at this point in time has shifted to the negative, it's actually outbound from me, so it's not going to be very high at all.
Oh, bummer.
So, yeah. Yeah, I might have mistaken it for the next pass or the future passes. Just out of curiosity, next contact actually will be Meteor M1 in 30 minutes, but
we're not vamping it.
We're not vamping now. Oh, come on! But there's always another one. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's. I don't think I'm going to be able to see anything here. No, there's nothing in the background. So,
yeah.
With that concludes the attempt.
Right. Insert link to sadtrombone.com here.
We do have that in the toolbox, the Google Hangouts toolbox.
So, just to kind of wrap up the impromptu live demo from the IPT, there are a couple of things that I think are just interesting things to call out for anyone that's watching this educationally. Here we have that quite a bit of engineering, especially around space things, involves patiently waiting for an event to occur. It also involves accurately predicting what the event will be like. And we did the former very well, including lots of nice chit-chat and vamping. We did the latter not quite as well because we pulled the wrong pass and expected to be 30 degrees, and it was a 2.5-degree pass.
Yeah.
The angle above the horizon. So, yeah, you get all your ducks in a row in engineering, especially for space involved. Lots of small things add up to, in this case, a lack of signal.
No, it's not their fault. No, the other interesting thing is yeah, you need to have all your ducks in a row and everything needs to be done exactly right. Otherwise, it's like watching paint dry. Another interesting factor is that for my location, NOAA 19. It's in a sun-synchronous orbit, so it pretty much passes over the same piece of real estate about the same time during the day. And for me, that's 4 o'clock in the morning.
But not helpful time of day.
No, but it goes over the house probably within 10 degrees of zenith, of straight up. The next one is actually going to pass over the house. Let me get that information. Show future passes. We are looking at 71 degrees elevation. Let's see if I can screen share that just a sec.
Well, I think it's time to get back to the end of the activity. I totally worth one last hope. We had a good opportunity. It is what it is. The actual PI says to get an image from space, so I don't think that we can claim done on this one.
No,
now I've got her hat on. I'm looking. So, and I think I'm hearing Aaron agree with me. So we're not claiming done. I will know that like I said earlier, I think we've done all the appropriate Mythbusters-like things to do. I don't think this PBI exactly as written continues to be exactly what we should face. I look forward to working with Greg to figure out the next step. I anticipate part of that will involve contacting the original author and saying, hey, we've done this and did these things. How was your work? But we'll see.
Do you remember if the gentleman was a ham radio operator? Okay, I did not copy that.
I don't remember one way or the other.
Okay, because if so, I can probably reach out to him through the ham radio community.
Yep.
Okay, but as you said, I am not claiming done.
I concur.
That list of PBIs. So the team got 4 out of 5 and did good work on that 5th one. Once again, I want to, with my joint project owner hat on, I want to thank the team for all its hard work. Very, very excited about the progress, and I think that's all I have. Greg, do you have any closing comments?
Nope, not for the review. We'll tag up after the fact.
All right. On that note, I thank everyone who's watching us, either live or recorded, and we will see you at the next review at Astro Pursuit Academy, the Stars Through Community. Good night.